everybody, welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQ&AV, and as always, NoDQ.com. You can always submit questions at formspring.me/AaronRift. Got a lot of questions here, so let's get right down to it. AJ Woody 88 has this question. What made the ruthless aggression era different from the other eras? I remember watching wrestling during this time, but I don't know what made it stand out from previous years. What did you think of this period? I think the ruthless aggression era, if you want to call it an era, was a response to the whole Steve Austin walking out on WWE, and Vince McMahon wanted to try to push new talent and put an emphasis on the new talent. So you had like Brock Lesnar, you had John Cena, you had Randy Orton. They were starting to make a name for themselves in WWE. So I think that's what it was all about. I don't know if I would call that era the ruthless aggression era. I think the biggest change in WWE around that period, not just the name change from WWF to WWE, was also the brand extension. I look at it as the brand extension era. And, everyone asks, like, what are the eras and all that. I would call it the brand extension era from 2002 up to 2008, because at that point, they stopped focusing on the brand extension. It wasn't such a big deal, and also they switched to PG, and everyone likes to call it the PG era now. So 2002 to 2008, I call that the brand extension era. Let's see here. Hey, I am Chris. Hello, Chris. Aaron, love the show. What are the chances of the NWO being in the Hall of Fame? I think I answered this one before, but I'll mention it again. I think that it's a good possibility, and it's something that should be done at some point. But if you're going to induct the NWO, you need to induct the original three guys at the very least. Hogan, Hall, and Nash. If you're not going to induct those three, then you should probably hold off on it. And I guess there's always a possibility that they could induct some other members, maybe DiBiase or X-Pac, Six-Pac, and Big Show, since he's with WWE. So I would be okay with that, but if they try to induct like 15 people, that would be absolutely ridiculous. I would in the best case situation, I would induct Hogan, Hall, and Nash. This is from Dan 2007. What did you think of the storyline a few years back when Hornswoggle was revealed as Mr. McMahon's bastard son? I mean, it was a waste of a potential star-making storyline. I mean, whoever was Mr. McMahon's son could have gone on to be a huge star and could have gotten a huge rub off of the angle. Originally, the plan was for Mr. Kennedy to be revealed as Vince's son, but then he got suspended, he got injured, whatever. He had his issues. So WWE had to go with a backup plan, and I guess they really had no backup plan, so they just went with Hornswoggle. Whenever there's a storyline that you have to wrap up or finish, I guess Hornswoggle is the answer. I mean, he was the Raw GM, although Santa Claus makes an argument for that one. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Hey, I love the show. Since Rock will presumably have finished his remaining movies by the end of the year, and since he hasn't signed for any other ones, do you see The Rock possibly having a short full-time run to the ring for his title run? I think that is unlikely that he will be back in a full-time capacity. What I think will happen is he'll make an appearance maybe once or twice before the Royal Rumble. He'll be at the Royal Rumble, and then between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, he'll make as many appearances as possible when he's available. I mean, due to his movie schedule, he's not going to be able to be there every week. And I think he's got another movie project right before WrestleMania, so it's not going to be like this year where he was on Raw every week. I think he'll be on maybe once or twice between Rumble and Elimination Chamber. Maybe he'll be at the Chamber pay-per-view defending the title if he's champion. And then he'll have a few appearances between the Chamber pay-per-view and WrestleMania. So my guess is we'll see 6, 7, 8 appearances by The Rock between the Rumble and WrestleMania, realistically. This is from Arc49. When you say Evan Bourne can't pull off being a heel due to his size, I cannot help but think of guys like Spike Dudley, Chavo Guerrero, Gregory Helms, etc. What made them so good at it? Well, first of all, all those guys for the most part were in a cruiserweight division or whatever. So when you have a cruiserweight division, obviously you got to have some good guys and some bad guys. So somebody's got to play the heel role. In the case of Spike Dudley, I mean, he was a fairly good talker, so he could pull it off to some degree. Obviously, if you put him in there with a heavyweight, he's not that effective as a heel. Let's face it. Chavo Guerrero, the thing about him, he has always been a great talker. So Chavo could pull off the heel role very well. Just the natural cockiness that he could portray on television. He was a great heel. And Gregory Helms could also pull it off to some degree as well. So the thing about Evan Bourne is, like I mentioned, I mean, somebody brought up that he was in the WSX promotion, which I actually went to one of the tapings. But to me, I just don't see that in his character. I mean, he's just this white meat babyface type guy, and I think he's best off in that role as a babyface underdog character, just the way I see it. This is from Nikki ZU. What do you think about Chavo Guerrero's jump to TNA? You just mentioned Chavo a second ago. I think it's good for TNA. I think I mentioned this before, where I think TNA needs to slow down with signing former WWE talents, and they have for the most part. I think Chavo will help TNA's X division, and he can work with some of the younger talent. He's a veteran, so it's always good to have a guy with a lot of experience there. And Chavo cut a great promo on Impact Wrestling. I was really impressed. I thought he did a great job. So definitely a positive to see Chavo in TNA. Hey Aaron, love the show. Big fan of yours from Portugal. Very cool. My question is about Dean Ambrose. What do you think about him, ring skills, mic skills, etc.? And how would you have him make his debut in WWE? From what I've seen, he looks to have a lot of potential. His ring skills, mic skills, his look. He seems to have the entire package. I don't know what the deal is with his debut. There were the rumors that he would have a feud with Mick Foley. Whatever they do with him, it needs to be big. They need to bring him in a big way. I mean, you look at Chris Jericho's debut with WWE. You need to do something where right from the get-go, people see this guy as a big deal. Like Alberto Del Rio, they brought him in a big way. There's a lot of other guys that they've brought in, like CM Punk. They brought him in at the ECW show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and the crowd just went crazy for him. You really need to bring the guy in a big way, so the casual audience is watching, and they're like, wow, this guy must be something special. If they bring him in just as an enhancement guy, it's going to take a lot longer for him to establish himself. I think if you bring him in and push him right to the top, he has a better chance of making it. So definitely a guy to look out for in the coming months, hopefully. Hopefully we'll see him soon because he definitely has a lot of potential. This is from M-Cell Roy's 5th. Hey Aaron, do you think that the WWE needs to bring back stables? I see a couple guys who are just flipping in the wind. Your thoughts, please reply on video. Absolutely, I'd love to see more factions. There was a period when it was being really overdone, and this was going back a while. This was the late 90s when, coming off the success of the NWO, it seemed like there were like 5 or 6 stables in each promotion. I mean, it got really ridiculous. But now, it's a complete 180. There are hardly any stables at all. NoDQ has a poll every year, the year-end awards, your favorite faction, and this year there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's aces and eights in TNA, and I mean that's about it. There's not a whole lot actually this year. So I'm hoping that they form some sort of faction. I mean, there are definitely guys that are lost in the shuffle, and you could put them in a faction and allow those guys to reestablish themselves. Maybe put Drew McIntyre in a stable with a couple other guys like Ted DiBiase, guys that have talent, but they're just not getting the opportunity. And if you put them in a faction, that gives them a whole new opportunity to do something. So I would absolutely agree 100%. Bring back more stables. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQ&AV if you haven't already. Please spread the word about this video on Facebook, Twitter, Tout. Can't believe I'm still saying Tout. Hopefully not much longer. And I want to mention real quick, the 4th annual NoDQ.com get together after SummerSlam. So if you're anywhere in the Los Angeles area and you want to meet up with myself and some of the NoDQ site visitors, RSVP to the event page. Just go on Facebook and search SummerSlam NoDQ. You should be able to find it. As I mentioned in the last video, it's always really cool to meet some of the site visitors in person. I mean, everybody that I've met has always been really cool and down to earth. So it's a lot of fun getting to meet up with wrestling fans and talk to them about the product. So if you're in the area, come stop by. It's going to be at the Hooters across the street from SummerSlam after the show. And let me know if you can make it. So hopefully I'll see some of you then. And I'll see you next week for more NoDQ&A video.